1-800-449-8686. And now, Phil Hendrie.
Dean Wheeler is a Northern California businessman you're a businessman, you're a holistic healer, Mr. Wheeler?
Well, Phil, I have two holistic clinics in the Mill Valley area of Northern California, Bay Area.
All right. You have been bicycling around the United States. You've just completed 7,000 miles on a fundraiser, correct?
Yeah, and we've had an awful lot of great people helping us too, Phil, from so many wonderful people around the country, I can't tell you. To stop the city of New York from building the new World Trade Center Memorial. We think that it is premature. We think that the design is premature, and we think that it's time that we incorporate some things into the World Trade Center Memorial to really help the healing.
Well, what would that be? I mean, this World Trade Center Memorial building, these series of buildings have been approved.
Well, Phil, the country is still very much immersed in an anger. We're in an angry period. We're in an angry state, and the country is still kind of locked in that anger. And what we wanted to do is have something that was going to help us retrieve our sensibility a little bit. There were 2,800 people who died in the September 11th incident, but only 2,800 are being memorialized. And in point of fact, there's another 10 who are not, and those were the men who were on those two airplanes, that the two men who got involved in this very confusing event on 9/11.
You're talking about the Saudi Arabian hijackers of those two planes.
Yes, and I want you to.
So I fail to follow. You're saying the hijackers, the men who murdered those people, should be on that plaque?
Well, Phil, I'm saying that they died like everybody else. They died not so much by their own hand, but because they may have been forced to do a lot of the things they did by the United States government.
Sir, Mr. Wheeler, I can't in good conscience let you go on.
Let me put it to you a different way then, Phil.
I can't in good conscience let you go on and say that the United States government, and all of this needless, boring prattle caused 9/11.
Well, okay, but you see, you're still locked in your anger. And I think when your anger dies down, it's going to make sense as to why they need to be remembered.
All right, makes sense to me. Why do we have to put the names of the hijackers on this plaque?
Because we're the United States of America. Because our government cannot continue to slap the third world in the face.
Slap the third world in the face? The United States has given so much to so many people. The United States has given, in terms of aid to other countries, millions of dollars.
Well, and so we would be betraying our founding ethics, Phil, if we didn't keep at least a part of the World Trade Center Memorial for the 10 hijackers who were aboard those two aircraft. And I think that, I know you're angry, I know a lot of people, but let's honor our dead and just give a slight tip of the cap to the hijackers who also perished, because, Phil, they are someone's sons too.
A slight tip of the cap?
Just to say that we know you're someone's sons too.
So the men that you're talking about who murdered 3,000 people, murdered them. They were the only people that day that chose to die that day. They did not give the same choice to other people. You want them to have a memorial.
I'm saying, Phil, that part of the proposed World Trade Center Memorial, look, this kind of melodrama that you're engaging in is exactly the thing that keeps us from moving on.
I'm not engaging in melodrama, sir. I'm listening to you very carefully.
But you're still locked in your anger, and we in America, we pride ourselves in being an open and ethical country. Why have our ethics failed us? The hijackers did what they thought was right. It may have been wrong, and I'm willing to keep an open mind about that.
Well, I'm very happy that you're keeping an open mind about it, Mr. Wheeler, because it was wrong, sir. And I can say unequivocally it was wrong.
Yeah, I believe it was wrong, too, Phil. I'm sorry you misunderstood me. I'm just saying that...
Are you a Muslim, sir?
No, no, sir, I am not, and I think that's really wrong of you to ask that question.
All right, I just wanted to ask if you were Muslim or not. Because,
in other words, I have to be Muslim to stick up for 10 misguided Saudi Arabian young men who got involved in a very confusing and regrettable event.
All right, now you have a design for this so-called... Did you actually go out and commission a design for a so-called memorial to the hijackers?
Phil, we have a design from Mr. Rahman Al-Hajjah, who is a Detroit-based artist, and it shows, I think, a tasteful design.
What is it?
Well, it shows 10 men looking to the sky, and it's as if to say they're saying to God, I did my best. And there's a very small spotlight that illuminates the sculptures.
Okay, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Mr. Wheeler, I know you're an American citizen, and I know you love your country. I think that this is just wrong to have a part of the World Trade Center Memorial be devoted to the 10 men who that day murdered all of those people. I just think it's...
Because they were someone's sons too, Phil, and because I think it's within the American people to forgive and let's move on. I think we've been locked in this angry place for a long time.
1-800-449-8686 is the number of the Phil Hendrie Show. Deborah, go ahead. You're on with Dean Wheeler.
Mr. Wheeler, I have to tell you that as an American, I am incredibly offended by what you're saying. You keep talking about how we're locked in an angry place.
Well, I can hear it in your voice.
Excuse me, I'm not angry. I'm angry at you.
I can hear your anger.
I'm angry. Well, please don't psychobabble me, sir. I'm not interested in your opinion of my anger. What I'm interested
You're locked in a very angry place.
Please let the lady finish.
Well, the two of you are trying to keep me from saying...
But no, I've allowed you to speak, sir. Let the lady just say what she wants.
I just think Deborah needs a release.
Sir, I don't need a release. I need to be allowed to say what it is I want to say.
Right.
Fine. So, thank you. So, Mr. Wheeler,
okay. Put him on hold. Put him on hold. Go ahead.
Maybe I do
just
want
release your anger with the apple hill.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Wheeler, what I want to say to you is there were children that lost dads. There were women that lost the husbands. There were mothers and dads who lost their children in those flights. People have suffered deeply because of that, because those 10 men that you want to honor climbed on those planes and didn't like the American people. They didn't like anything about it. Sir, I want to tell you, if you were standing there and you got in those men's way, they would run you over and not even pause for a second to think of it. And then you would probably be a little bit angry, too. There are people that have suffered because of these people, Mr. Wheeler. They have suffered deeply. I am offended as an American citizen. No, just a minute. I am offended.
I can hear your tension.
I am offended. I am tense, Mr. Wheeler, but I'm tense because people like you are drawing breath when 3,000 good people died. I am incredibly incensed. You don't sound like it. The fact that you could want to put with the names of people that fell 90 stories, sir, out of a building that was hit by an airplane, that you would want to put the names of the same men that caused that type of pain and tragedy repulses me.
Deborah, can I tell you a story? I attend a community college here in the Bay Area, and I met a very wonderful girl. She's a lady that I work with over at the co-op, and she's Muslim. And we've been talking, and she's a wonderful girl, and she's enlightened me to so many things. Her name is Shanine. She's very beautiful, and she's meant a lot to me, and in a lot of ways it's a gift to her. And I mean, I'm in love with her. And
this proposed memorial is a gift to this girl?
If you'll allow me to explain, in medieval times, women often challenged men to achieve some kind of a feat. And so this is my gift to Shanine, to get this memorial for 10
men. And so everybody else should not feel what they feel because you want to give Shanine a gift?
Well,
Excuse me, sir, people have lost family members. I'm sorry if Shanine is offended by this, but people are losing. There are women out there who do not have husbands who are raising children because these ugly men got on these planes and because they said it was America's problem. We won't even go into that issue. We won't even go into this.
She's tossed the gauntlet down, and I think that there were 10 men who were very confused that day. They got in over their head.
Oh, they were not confused, sir. They planned this thing for months. They went in.
They were 10 young, confused people. And I said, when did we stop understanding our youth? And Shanine is a lovely girl who is, I hope that I can make her my wife. But there are things in the Muslim faith that I have to do first. And so,
getting a memorial to these 10 guys is one of them.
So you are a self-serving person. You're doing this to self-serve yourself.
No.
You think other people, yes, you are.
I want love to reign. I want all love to reign.
Well, then why don't you have love for the families who lost their loved ones? Well, that's who you should have love for, not Shanine. Good luck, Shanine.
But we're soulmates, and she's told me as soon as I raise the $75,000 to pay the artist that she will perform the Muslim marital ritual, which includes something that I think all American men are deprived of and yet yearn for.
Why do I got to hear about your love life, man? I don't want to hear about your love life, dude. I want to hear, if you want to put a memorial up for those 10 hijackers, got a great place to do it. Downtown Mecca, man. Go over to Saudi Arabia, stick it up there.
You're so full of hate, Mr. Hendrie.
Oh, come on, buddy. I mean, with reason. I don't love the hijackers. You say we're all full of love? I don't love them. I don't love them.
Shanine loves you so much that she's going to let you raise $75,000 before she marries you to put up a plaque to the men of her faith who came and destroyed people who were innocent people here. And you think that we're angry about that? You're right, Mr. Wheeler. We are angry. I am an American who is incredibly incensed that there's someone like you breathing air when there are people who died incredibly painful deaths that didn't deserve it.
Well,
and you are selling our country out because you're in love with this woman. You got the hots for this broad, let's face it, and that's all you want.
Shanine is not a broad. She's a Muslim woman. You're going to get sick from your anger. You're going to develop a tumor.
I'm not. I'm going to be fine once I hang up and don't hear your voice.
The healthiest thing she could do is let it out.
No, she's going to develop some kind of a cancerous tumor. I can sense it.
Mr. Wheeler, shove it in your ear. I'm not going to develop anything except a long distance from you.
So the love is gone from your life. All right.
Mr. Thank you very much, Deborah.
No, I can see her getting a tumor somewhere behind her leg or something.
All right, sir. Let people be angry.
But the anger America has to release the anger, and this is the greatest way to do it, Phil.
The best way for us to release our anger is when they build the memorial at the World Trade Center to include on that list of names the names of the 10 hijackers who are on board those 2 planes.
I think, Phil, this is a wonderful opportunity, just a wonderful opportunity for America to get its anger away. And I do this a lot when we're doing Tai Chi or when we're doing some of our Hatha Yoga exercises. I wipe away all of the strain, almost as if it's bad, like there's a little bit of bird dung or something on you. Just wipe it away. And Shanine has taught me this, and I'm so very much in love with her, and I can't wait for our wedding night.
All right, well, because you got a Muslim girlfriend doesn't mean you put the names of those hijackers on that memorial. 1-800-449-8686. Mr. Dean Wheeler of Mill Valley, California, who believes that we should put the names of the 10 hijackers as well on the World Trade Center memorial. The 10 men who brutally, ruthlessly, and with murderous intent flew those aircraft into those buildings and murdered 3,000 people. He thinks their names should go on a separate memorial, a sculpture of the 10 of them looking to heaven as if to say, I did my best, and a small spotlight illuminating their names. If this guy wasn't doing it for love, the love of a Muslim girl that he's fallen in love with, I would have hung up on him light years ago. That's how I feel about it. 1-800-449-8686. He says we need to do this to release our anger. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
1-800-449-8686. The world-famous Phil Hendrie Show.
The Phil Hendrie Show is back. 1-800-449-8686.
And of all the anger that we have to release, I think it would be a wonderful thing.
This is Mr. Dean Wheeler. This is the Phil Hendrie Show. Excuse me, but Mr. Wheeler, you believe that we should put as part of the World Trade Center memorial a memorial to the 10 dead hijackers.
You know something, Mr. Hendrie? I don't think it's that unusual.
Well, explain to me why it's not that unusual.
The United States of America loves to talk about how it's so generous and how it has the Peace Corps and how it has the Ship of Hope and all the things that America loves to pat its back on. And then it says that it's very forgiving. It wasn't just 2,800 people who died that day. It was 2,810 people who died that day. There were 10 hijackers, misguided young men, very confused.
Oh, stop it. They planned it. What is this misguided young men?
It was a tragic incident, and I'm sure that if they had it to do over again...
if they had it to do over again, they'd do it again. And then they do the Sears Tower on top of it.
Are you sure about that? Do you see into their hearts? Do you see into their souls, Mr. Hendrie? Do you see into the intent of these young men? You know, I understand your anger on September the 12th, 2001, but it's March 2003. Let's put the anger on a boat and watch it float away. And this is an exercise that we do in Hatha Yoga.
Jesus.
Let's put our anger. Well, your language notwithstanding.
No, I just. Sometimes anger's healthy.
No, not this long. Now let's give these 10 hijackers the memorial plaque, and I think it'll be wonderful, and you'll make me a very happy man. Shanine will know that I'm worthy, and then she and I will be a part of a very important part of Muslim marital ritual, which is the revelation of the sanctum.
Okay, I don't know what that is. 1-800-449-8686. Gina, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even think that Wheeler, you should be referred to as Mr. or Sir, either one. I think you're nuts. I think you
because
have
I believe
honor
in love.
or love for this country.
Because I believe in love.
No, love has nothing to do with it. These men hate this country. The Muslim faith is not what you are cracking it up to be.
Well,
Shanine and I... Let me finish. These people do not love us. They come over here and they take our money, they get our education, and then send it back home, and they come back and they destroy 3,000 lives.
We don't need their love. They need our love. They need our love.
No, they don't.
You see, that's what Christian love...
They need the love of God, is who they need, and they don't even know who God is.
They don't hate us. Shanine loves me. They don't hate us. Shanine loves me.
I don't care that Shanine loves you. That's great.
Okay.
Go ahead and marry Shanine. But these men that destroyed the towers and destroyed these lives of other people, just like I agree with the last woman caller, should be strung up if they were still alive and hung.
Well,
there is no honor. There is no justice in what they have done to us.
How are you going to
do it over again and over again and over?
They were very upset. They were upset and misguided young men.
No, they weren't.
They were very upset that day.
They were not. They knew exactly what they were doing.
They
knew.
They had identity.
5 years ago, when they came over here and started learning how to fly planes, they knew exactly what they were doing.
So
they've been planning this for 5 years prior to this happening. If they were misguided, they would have gotten straightened out within 5 years.
Shanine told me they weren't sure what was happening, and that they were. So in other words, young people can't be confused and make mistakes.
Oh, come on, confused and make mistakes. These cats flew 2 planes into 2 buildings. Yeah, you can make a mistake, all right, but you got to pay for your mistakes.
They have paid for their mistakes, Mr. Hendrie. And this lady wants to hang them. Dare I remind her that they're dead? How are you going to do that? What are you going to hang? Some ash?
Let me remind you of something, sir. You talk about Christianity, okay?
Yes.
In the Bible, it says those that take their own lives will not be admitted into heaven. Now, you tell me that those young men knew what they were doing.
Are you
sure
it
says
that?
They knew exactly what they were doing because they were going on the Muslim faith that says, I'll be met by 7 virgins.
Gina,
please,
Shanine said that if we could just raise $75,000, we could put the whole thing to rest. And then it'll...
it all boils down to money.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
Gee, I bet she would take that $75,000 and send it right back over to them.
No, we're going to put up the memorial to the 10 hijackers, and I understand your anger.
Memorial up someplace else, buddy, because if you put it on American soil, you are going to be hunted down.
How long do you think that thing's going to stay up?
What?
The memorial. How long do you think it'll stay there?
Yeah, you think Americans are going to
The New York City police. No, the New York City police are supposed to protect it, and they will. Otherwise, they can get fired.
Oh,
all right. 1-800-449-8686. Should we put a memorial to the hijackers too at the World Trade Center? 1-800-449-8686. Trade Center Memorial, the new memorial that is to be constructed, the new spire, the buildings. It will also have the names, of course, of the 2,800 or so who lost their lives there. Should it also contain the names of the 10 hijackers? My guest this evening, Mr. Dean Wheeler, believes there should be a separate portion to this memorial with their names on it. And in the break, you were trying to compare this memorial to these guys to the men who fell at Normandy?
Just to say, Phil, there's a memorial to the fallen in Normandy where the dead fell, and it should be the same.
Well, and I made the point to you that the men who fell in Normandy were fighting for a noble, righteous, and moral thing, and they fell to save the lives of others. These guys died for the self-aggrandizing of a maniac by the name of bin Laden. It's not the same thing.
Well, Phil, I can't argue with you as long as you want to embrace the anger polar area of yourself.
I'm not embracing anything. I'm simply saying those men died out of for a noble cause. These guys died for a maniac. And you want to raise $75,000?
We are raising the $75,000 to pay the artist. And again, this is the influence of a woman that I love very much, Shanine. In fact, her cousin, who is Roman Al-Hajjah, and he lives in the San Francisco area, she's going to drive the money up to him this week. And as soon as she drives back, we're going to get married. And at that point, something will be revealed to me that has not been revealed to any American man, or very few American men, I should say, Mr. Hendrie. It is a Muslim marital ritual, which includes something that American men have yearned for decades, for centuries. And that is what is called in Muslim terms the revelation of the rear sanctum. It's also known colloquially in the Middle East as the prophet's backyard. And your anger
Well, I don't know what the marital ritual is, all right? You're sending $75,000?
Yes, with Shanine. She's driving it up to her cousin this weekend, $75,000 in small unmarked bills. And if I were you, Phil, and I'm not you, but if I were you, I would go to the doctor, have an MRI, have a full body scan, because I'd hate like heck to think you've got lumps going or some kind of a cancerous cyst.
I'm fine, sir. I don't have cancer. I'm fine. And I'm angry about anybody suggesting the names of that scum be put anywhere near those poor people's names. 1-800-449-8686. Claudia, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Yes, I just have to, there's only a couple of points I want to make, but the first
Hi, Claudia.
thing
This is Dean.
Yeah, you were talking about how we could just wash this away, put their plaque up, and just wash all this anger away.
Yeah, just release it, and we can have such
You can't
a great
release for
opportunity.
3,000 people. They have got families. They have lost children, have lost their fathers, their mothers. They're never going to be able to release. You know, they've got a lot that they'll have to live with from now on.
How do those people release it?
Yeah, I mean, they can't. Yeah, they can forgive those people that did this, but they intentionally did it. It's like, you're like, okay, let me finish.
All right, go ahead, Claudia.
Okay. To a serial killer, here's a house, please come in and kill my family.
Oh, no.
And you need to go back to the Bible. Two commandments these people broke, okay? The first one is, thou shalt not murder.
Well, they were
Thou shalt not kill.
They were Muslims.
The second thing is that the commandments say, thou shalt not have any other God before me. If you're worshiping Allah or Buddha or whoever,
it's the same thing.
You're not worshiping God.
It's the same guy. He just has a different name. That's what God has taught us.
Well, God does not teach us to go out and kill people.
Well, that's true. But you know something, Claudia? The Muslim marital ritual of the Prophet's backyard is something that I think a lot of American men would enjoy.
I think you have got a mistaken idea about everything that you... I don't know what this girl has done. It's great that you found somebody, but I tell you right now, I'm an American citizen.
Yes.
I've been born and raised in this country. I have been to Europe and overseas. The country is fine. Everybody is fine and right and have a right to do what they want to believe. But when you start killing other innocent people, there were children.
Oh, of course.
That was on that plane.
Well, I think
and in those towers. That should have none of those people should have ever been murdered, and these people intentionally.
Well, that's true, Claudia.
Got on an airplane and used to kill innocent people. If they wanted to fight a war and they hated America, then they should be fighting the military.
Right, Claudia. Claudia's making some great points.
And I can't disagree with anything. I think the whole incident was just a big misunderstanding.
No, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was murder.
Well, the last 2 weeks have been the greatest of my life. I met her 2 weeks ago. And I have.
Well, if this woman wants to marry you, why have you got to have money? Why you got to have $75,000? What, to support more terrorism?
No, not at all. To have her.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me, listening to all this. you're sitting here saying you need $75,000 to give to this woman, and once you give that to her, then she'll marry you. Well, that to me sounds like she's wanting you to support terrorism, which is what it sounds like. That's exactly what you're doing.
No, Claudia, she's going to drive it up to her brother, who is an artist.
Who's then going to send it over there to give it to him to support more terrorism?
No, they're going to design the new memorial for the 10 hijackers. As soon as she gives the money to him, she's turning around and coming back here to marry me. And then we'll have a marvelous...
Well, I think if she loved you, she wouldn't be putting a stipulation on whatever it is. If she loved you and really wanted to marry you as a human being, as a person, it wouldn't matter what your religion is. It wouldn't have all these stipulations that you had to do. My husband didn't come to me and say, I will marry you if you'll do this. And give me money or send money to here or take money to my brother or whatever it is. He married me because he loves me.
Yeah. And again, Dean, a couple of things. This gal is you're doing something for her.
But she's doing something for me.
What?
She is allowing me the Muslim marital ritual of the rear sanctum. And I would ask Claudia, she's married to an American man. I assume your husband's American? Claudia?
Yes.
All right. Have you provided him the Prophet's backyard?
Do what?
Have you provided for him?
Well, we provide for each other.
Well, of course. I'm wondering if you've provided for him the Prophet's backyard.
What is the Prophet's backyard, sir?
If it's not in the Bible and it doesn't represent God, then it don't need to be anything in my backyard.
Well...
And all this talk about Muslim and all their religion, they're entitled to do that.
Right,
but if they're so happy and they're so wonderful and they're so great, then what are they doing in our country?
Well, I think Muslims are wonderful people. They're happy-go-lucky.
That's fine. But if they want to be in our country, then they need to respect what we like and what we want to worship and the one true God.
But have you assumed the position of subordinates with your husband, or I'm confused? You've read Corinthians where it says that you must give over to the man.
Do what now?
You must give over to the man in a bent fashion. In Corinthians it says, give unto the man that which is forbidden.
What are you talking about, man? I want you to spell it out in plain English.
Mr. Hendrie, I am talking about the Muslim marital ritual of letting the guy do it in the back door.
This is what I think you need to do. Since you are in love with this Muslim woman and you're so hung up on all this stuff, I think what you need to do, both of you need to take that $75,000 that you think you're going to raise, and y'all need to go over to the foreign country, over there to Iraq, go over there and live with Saddam, and y'all can get married over there, and you can worship whatever and put whatever plaque you want over there with all of them. That's what I think you need to do, because you are not. You are slapping the faces of every one of those 3,000 families and the victims. You are slapping them in the face by wanting to put those hijackers' names on there, because those hijackers basically murdered every single person that was anywhere around there.
What about the Prophet's?
It was totally uncalled for. We don't tolerate criminals walking around the street going up and killing people and shooting people. We give them the death penalty. They don't deserve anything any better or any less. And they don't deserve to have their name put on a plaque saying, you made a mistake. No, they didn't make a mistake. That's the way they do. That's the way they operate.
Is the gentleman there?
Yes. Claudia, I do want to slap it on her face, if that's what you're meaning. What does she mean?
What do you mean, slap it on her face?
I'm simply saying that the Prophet's backyard...
All right, forget it. Claudia, thank you for your call. 1-800-449-8686. We got time for a couple of more phone calls. We're talking with Dean Wheeler. If this Prophet's backyard is some sexual thing, I don't want to know about it.
Mr. Hendrie, I've tried to be very discreet.
Why don't you just pay her $75,000 so she can give you the Prophet's backyard? What do you got to do this whole dance with a plaque for?
Because in the same way in medieval times, when the lady, the queen, would throw down a handkerchief and the knight would pick it up and he'd go out and joust, much is very similar to today, Phil, in the Muslim world.
Let me go over here to Amelia. Amelia, hi, or excuse me, Paul, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My point is simple, that any murderer, whether they're Muslim or misguided or young or they're a murderer, and they don't deserve.
Well, let me guess. Let me guess. You think it's wrong?
Oh,
Okay,
murder is definitely wrong.
Okay, Phil, you can hang up on him. I got it out.
Will you let him say it?
Murder is the probably one of the worst sins any religion could commit.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's bad, but...
Well, what do you think would be the worst sin any religion could commit if it's not murder?
I think sodomy.
Sodomy.
Sodomy, yes, sir.
Sodomy is worse than murder.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Phil, you need to get somebody else on your show. This is terrible.
Not giving sodomy is what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. Here is Amelia. Go ahead, Amelia.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, hi. Well,
Hi.
first of all, I think that Mr. Wheeler is totally misguided because he doesn't need $75,000 to get somebody's rear. He can just go to any street and he'll find somebody who'll do it for maybe $100.
Ma'am, I'm in love with this woman.
Well, isn't that great?
Oh, you're insulting the woman that I love.
Well, you're insulting the world, sir.
Yeah. You want to put a plaque up with the scumbag's name on it? Put the plaque up in your bedroom. Put it up in your garage. You can nail it to the back of your car if you want. You don't put it in that hallowed ground, the World Trade Center, and where people died, where I was there this past September the 11th.
Oh, here we go with your speech making. I love this.
I beg your pardon?
Here we go, and you're going to give the big speech of how you were there and you saw the big hole in the ground.
Yes, sir, I did. I saw the big hole in the ground. I saw the family members. I saw the bereaved faces. I saw the president talk to all of them. Yeah, I saw it.
Yes, and
Well,
if this
what
is
about-
all just about sodomy, then you're really insulting the world, buddy.
Why? No, it's not just about sodomy. It's about
Well, I
loving.
think that's what it is all about.
How do you figure
Because all
that?
you're waiting for is to get married so you can sodomize her. So, I mean, I think you need a psychiatrist.
You know, you said you want me to spend $100 for a whore. I think that's
That'll be
insulting.
much cheaper.
All you're doing is putting up a plaque to memorialize these 10 hijackers, spending $75,000 for it, so you can have the prophet's backyard, as you call it.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Ridiculous.
I love Shireen.
Well, good for you.
I love her.
You think you're the only person who does that in the world? You know, many people do it, and they don't have to pay $75,000.
Oh, really? Do you?
No, I don't.
Oh. See, you always like to say, but you don't really do.
Well, what is this conversation we're having?
Right.
What are we talking about here?
What is this all about? Are you
This is
crazy?
about a plaque for the hijackers, because they were people too.
Oh, look, give her the $75,000 and get it over with. Get your prophet's backyard or whatever the hell it's called. You probably won't even have to marry her. Just give her the $75K. If you ever see her again.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'll tell you what it's supposed to mean. She's driving up north to give the $75K to her brother, right?
Her cousin.
Right.
All right, her
and
cousin.
you'll never see her again, buddy.
And she's
You
gonna
are
turn her-
misguided.
Oh, wait a sec. What are you two suggesting?
She ain't coming back. She's taking that $75,000. She's getting on a jet to Saudi freaking Arabia, wherever she's from. You'll never see her again.
And those $75,000 are going to go for more terrorists to come and kill us.
No, she's probably going to give the prophet's backyard to some other guy.
Oh,
Listen,
better
you
solve it.
stupid ass. All right, Amelia, thank you for your call.
Bye.
I hate her. I hate her so much.
Oh, well, I thought we needed more love in the world. I thought we needed to release our anger.
Bitch.
Yeah. You better go get in your car, man, and start riding up 101 or 5, because I think Shanine,
Her name is, I forget.
yeah, you better catch her. She's got your $75,000. You never see it again. Good God. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
The Phil Hendrie Show. 1-800-449.
1-800-449-8686. And now more on The Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie back with Dean Wheeler, who believes we should build part of the World Trade Center Memorial should be devoted to the 10 men who died, the 10 hijackers. Helene, go ahead. You're on The Phil Hendrie Show with Dean Wheeler.
Yes.
Hi, Helene.
I want to tell
I'm Dean
you
Wheeler.
let me talk,
Okay.
because I want to tell you
Hi.
that your phone call is being traced right now, because I believe that you are a suspect and you are Muslim yourself and
Well,
you're not getting married.
Have you ever met any Muslims? They're very
yes,
fun-loving.
I have.
They're fun-loving
the one
people.
who's right now going to be punished in another state other than New York.
Right now.
And you should be the same thing because you are talking out of your mind.
What are you talking about?
Out of your mind.
What are you talking about?
I understand what she's saying.
I don't believe in your Quran.
First of all, her name is Shanine, not Karen.
To you.
Her name is Shanine, not Karen.
She said the Quran.
Well, you can call her whatever you want, but the fact...
The Quran, the book that the Muslims believe in.
I know.
Oh, I don't know anything about that, but
they don't. Not all Muslims kill people,
well,
and I
most
believe
do.
you
Most
would
do.
be the one who would believe in it.
What? Say
You
that
have
again?
expressed that.
Helene, you know the early bird special down there at Wolfie Cohen's is happening.
I know.
Oh, you forget the early bird special.
You too.
Yeah, I know you are, but what am I?
Can we talk like adults here?
Not really.
I am an adult.
All right, Helene.
And I have much
Muslim
better
people are...
brains than you do, but I am an American adult. And I'm very proud of my country and what they believe. I think you should be punished severely and sent back to your country, or not even that, be put in prison in the United States.
What if I punished myself right now?
You don't have to.
No, if
You can. You can punish
All right,
yourself by exploding something and exploding with it. But that's not the American way.
You want me to explode something?
No, I certainly do not.
You want me to kill myself?
No. No.
All right, here you go. You ready?
That's real funny. We'll be back.
Tee-hee.
The Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Communist influenced. One 800-449-8686. Now, Phil Hendrie.
Well, guess who's coming home? The human sheep.
All right, my last run here. I'm going to go to Walmart and pick up my 10 boxes of cereal. So I'm going to be picking it up in Shakopee, Minnesota. I don't live there, but it's not far away. And the interesting thing about Shakopee is yesterday, a woman was beheaded in the United States, in Shakopee, less than 10 minutes from where I live. What a great country. So you know what I'm going to do, right? I'm taking a handgun with me, probably 2 of them. Just in case. Nobody's going to behead my ass. All right, see you guys. I put the link in the chat if you want to download Phil Hendrie MP3s. They're all there. They're all free. I haven't uploaded everything I have, but it's several hundred gigs. Maybe 200 gigs that are there at least right now. As well as the webcasts that I don't think he has on his website anymore. So the pirated collection of Hendrie material is better than what you would fucking pay for, if you can believe it.